Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today is another week with our weekly Zoom here. Today is Wednesday, January the 15th. And let's go ahead and get started. All right, I have the poll, like I said, up. You guys go ahead and fill out that poll so we can see what pairs we are taking a look at today. Turn off my camera so we can get focused here. Alrighty, so I'm about to close the poll. I see, again, we have GJ, GU, gold, US30. Alrighty, so definitely US30 and I don't know, everyone's up. There's a tie with everything else. We'll figure it out. Okay, let's just hop straight into, let's see, let's share these results. All right, so let's just hop straight into the markets today. We don't really have too much time. We did have CPI news, so let's take a look. All righty, so today we had CPI news coming out today. All righty, and we know that I'd like to look at this number to help, that's how they look at to try to see like those inflation numbers. An econ calendar. Let's see. Gives us some more data with that. Alrighty, so all that information has come out. We definitely want to take a look at our different news sources to interpret that. Definitely know that it definitely made our stocks here, the market definitely, at least for the equities anyways, they really soared. So a lot of buying power came in, and we're looking at FinViz for our financial visualizations. Just gives us a brief look into the markets. We see that, although we have some major stocks here selling off, majority of the market looks to be about green today. Again, the market has not opened just yet. All right. Okay, so we see I do have gold. I guess we'll do gold and US30 today. Does anyone want to do a Forex pair? Remember, come March, we're switching over to futures. So we want to get all of our Forex information, anything that I can help you guys with, any pairs that you definitely want to, really get to know, learn how to trade, any of that stuff. We want to do that before March. So let me know. I'm going to put up the chat here. Let's take a look at the chat. If you guys want to do any Forex pairs, don't be shy. Let me know. All right. So we're going to let these, we see that, golds, we're both looking at these on the 15-minute time frames. As you guys know, we use our pivot levels to help us spot support and resistance. Supply and demand, whatever you want to call that there, and helps us to get a good destination. So we know that if we're in an uptrend, we would love to catch a trade here when it gets down to this S0 and ride that baby up to the R8. When it comes up to the R8, if we're in a sell trend, we want to take that baby down to the S0, or, see if there's an opportunity for some type of pullback using our fib levels. So, we also use our RSI to help us identify, the momentum of this pair, because of course we don't really have, the depth of market or something that enables us to see, what orders are coming in the market. All right. Okay. Let's marking out some TP zones here for these pairs. These are 50, 61, 8 level. For gold, we see that it is definitely rejecting Buyers are unable to pull this price, a little higher here. We have this huge wick, which is showing rejection. So of course, we want to see, price giving us reject, pushing below this level here. It's already made lower low. Well, this would be the previous lower low. It's not making higher highs. So we definitely want to see price come out of this, sort of box here. That's a little too, come out of this little box here to give us a nice sell down to this 61.8. So we're going to be practicing entries. So now, for instance, in this particular trade, in this gold trade, we've identified, I hope you guys did all your pre-work because we're just jumping straight into the market. So, your affirmations, looking at your charts, taking a look at your trading plan, looking at news. Typically we like to look at Bloomberg and our 5 things we need to know, but we're just going to hop straight into the markets today because I did remind you guys of that in the chat. I'm just going to hop straight in here. Alrighty, so for instance, we're looking at gold right now. We're looking at, like I said, our entries. We see that, price was in an uptrend on the 15-minute time frame. And we're just trying to catch our intraday move for a couple of pips. We know that for gold, typically when we set up an entry, we're just looking to get 10 points. But if we have something like this where price has went from the S0 a little bit below the S0 and rode that baby straight up to the R8, especially on the 15-minute time frame, we are looking to, we are looking to enter into the sell for this pullback. Of course, if price is, breaks above this level, then, this fib is invalid and we're going to continue to look for buys. So this is a preemptive trade. We did see that price did break below these couple candles here, but this is the previous low, as I was saying. So we didn't really get a break of structure because price has not yet broken below this previous low. If everyone understands market structure, if they can see what the market is doing very clearly here in gold, throw some 5s in the chat. We want to train our eyes. Low, high, low, lower, higher low, higher high, higher low. This low is what? Higher than this high. All right, there we go. And so on and so forth. So this is our new higher high here because it was higher than this previous high. We have a higher low and we have a new higher high. You can even say, this wick. I try to, when I'm looking for my highs and lows, look at candlestick, openings and closings there. So we have a new high here. And we have a new higher low. So technically, we're still in this uptrend, even though we have this rejection here. We are at the R8 here. So the market can do 2 things. The market can continue to make higher highs and continue in this uptrend, or the market can pull back here. Why we are anticipating a pullback is because we see this rejection. We see that the buyers tried to come in. What do I mean by rejection? Let me move this fib level. Let's see, let's clear up our screens here a little bit. And we're looking at gold. We're waiting for US30 to get up here to our R8 so that we can make a decision. Right now, we're just going to continue to buy that baby. If you're trading US30, we have this engulfing candle and we are looking for a little pullback for this, back down to this level here. But right now it looks like it's still making higher highs. So we're going to let that play out here. All right. Okay, 15-minute, we are seeing, so back to gold. Sorry, we're jumping around a little bit here. But y'all are with me, so that's what's up. Okay, let me see here. Alrighty, again. Okay, so did you guys just see that pivot level shift on our 15-minute time frame for gold? Who saw that pivot level shift? We had our R8, which is our resistance level here, ultimate kind of, our ultimate resistance zone. And did you guys just see when we were looking at gold that our R8 kind of shifted up here to this 26.95 level? Yes, thanks, Frankie. Definitely. It shifted when price pushed up there. So remember, our pivot levels, they help us to identify support and resistance. And now those levels are going to shift if what? If price makes a higher high and we get that break of structure, that's then telling us that the market is now making new higher highs. We're not going into this low. It's not pulling back into this level. It's broken this structure, and we have a new area of resistance. Okay, it shifted on the 15-minute time frame, and now we don't really see that shift anymore. It kind of flashed there. What do we do whenever we see that? Because sometimes we know that our pivot levels can shift and then, go back to the original. Sometimes they can be, when they shift, it can give us a kind of like an alert, some kind of insight, like, hey, looks like price is making higher highs. But then sometimes they shift and, we just get that flash and that's it. So here's, whenever that happens, look at the lower time frames. Okay, we got that shift again. It did it again. Look at the lower time frames, because remember what we said. We are going to see that shift on the lower time frames before we see it on the higher time frames. Remember, think of a big giant ship. If you're zoomed out and you're looking from the sky, by the time that ship turns around, even though it's turning around, you're not really going to see it doing that major turn. Whereas if you had, for instance, sailboat or something smaller, when you're out, you're looking at it from an aerial view, you're going to see that turn a lot sooner. I don't know. Someone, I hope that makes sense. I heard that kind of analogy somewhere and it made sense to me. But that's because I was on a cruise at the time, so everything made sense. But I hope that kind of helped with, how we're looking at time frames and higher time frames and, our multiple time frame analysis and how we use, those things. Oh, let me see. Let me just make sure Ty is with us. All righty. So we see that the 5-minute time frame, those pivot levels kind of, still, this is still the R8, this is still the S0. So that tells us that market is in a, starts with the R, guys. Okay, perfect, perfect. That's you, Ty. I didn't know if that was the other Ty or what. All right, when we see something like this and we see price just bouncing in between, the R8 and the S0, if you can't really see it, with your eyes, what is this called? When it's just staying in this kind of box here. Not retracement.
Consolidation.
Consolidation. Thank you, Charlotte. Yep. Ranging, consolidation, however you know it as. It's just when basically price is not making higher highs or higher lows. It's just staying in that range. We're not making any significant price changes. And we know that the market tends to do that when we have high impact news coming in at 8:30, then we have the New York open coming in at 9:30. The market kind of just hangs out in a particular area before the next event, just kind of cooling down, cooling off. All right, so let's look at the 1 minute, what we are doing right now. So we looked at the 15-minute time frame. We saw that those pivot levels started to shift. We see that the market is not making, this particular asset isn't making significant, new highs or lows. So we're just looking at the smaller time frame. We're zooming in to see if we can get some more information into what this asset, gold in this case, has the potential to do next. All right, so we've marked up from our low. Let me go back. Okay, let's stay at the 1 minute. We marked up from our low to our high in a pivotal zone. We know that if price does break above this area, our fib is no longer valid. Price is not retracing. It is instead continuing on this buy trend and making higher highs and higher lows. If you're with me on that, if you understand why, if we were in a sell right here, we would kind of place our stop loss right above this wick here for this high. We never want to place our stop loss exactly at points. We want to give it, sometimes with gold, depending on your broker, look at your spread. You kind of want to give it some room because we don't want to get stopped out. Sometimes the market might come up, just to this level, and spread is so wide that even though your stop loss might be right here, it'll wick you out. So pay attention to your spread, pay attention to those things, because remember, especially in a situation like this, we are not alone in our analysis. Trust me, if you've placed your stop loss here, if you're looking, to place your stop loss around these areas, other traders are too, especially if they're looking for sells. So remember, there's a lot of sells, there's a lot of stop loss orders here. There's also a lot of pending buy orders here for people that are looking for this breakout. What else? What are some other things that type of orders that you might see or you could think of would be in this area here? I'm just trying to tell you, we're always talking about liquidity. Why is there, liquidity in areas such as this? We have so many different type of orders coming in here. Stop losses, pending orders. We have maybe even take profits for people who are still, in this buy and kind of want to set their TP maybe at this next pivot level, and they're putting, or adding another position. So there's a lot going on over here. So you might get what's called a fake out, where price springs up to this level, takes all this, all these orders out, grabs some orders, whatever it is. Even there are pending orders for the sell up here. So a lot of stuff going around in this area, depending on, how you're viewing the market. That's what causes liquidity. Our stop losses, we want to make sure that although we're not giving extra room, we want to give the market some breathing room. Alrighty, cool. So there are a couple different things. We could be looking for, price to break out of this level, or we could be looking for that kind of retracement here. Let's look to see, and looking to get into a sell. This would be a cheap trade for me. And what do I mean by cheap trade? We see we have a pivot level shift. So, we might expect price to come up here to this 26.95 area. Again, just picking up these, these stop orders. So this is a kind of take profit zone. If you're in this buy, we have a shift here. We have a shift here. So we're going to wait for price to come up here. We'll see how it reacts at this level. Again, okay, so remember when I said, our trade would be invalidated with this pivot level coming over here. This is the 1 minute time frame. Okay, we have to take everything with a grain of salt. So we're going to see how this trade closes out, because sometimes this just might be a wick, and then price comes back down here and continues on with that sell. So we're going to see how price reacts, you know, going up to this R8. We saw that US30 was continuing to buy. So that was kind of a little heads up that gold was going to follow suit and do the same. So, you know, we were talking about entries. And even though we were looking for that little pullback, we kind of want to wait. If we already saw like that pivot level shift. So that was our kind of what am I saying? Alert, or just like to let us know that, hey, price has some more buying to do before it commits to this sell. We were just talking about different type of orders here. So of course, if you were in a short for whatever, wherever you were, you know, we had some shorting opportunities. I don't know. Let's see. The market didn't really give us a chance to get in for shorts here. It's been making higher highs. But let's just say you got into a short, I don't know, right around here, and you put your your stop loss just right here at the previous high. Of course, you would have been stopped out, right? So that's what I'm talking about everybody thinks it's a stop loss hunt, or, you know, the market's against you. No, just the area that we are looking to take our trade in at the time, you know, that we're looking to take our trade, in the place that we're looking to take our trade, you know, that wasn't the time to get into a sell. And if you did, putting your stop loss so tight, you know, within this area, because it was an area of liquidity. You can still be looking for your sell. We now have to do some adjustments. We're going to look at the 9 a.m. candle to see if, you know, price isn't still just walking up to our psychological level at 2,700, or if this R8, you see that it went straight up here to this R8, 26.95, of course, on the 1 minute time frame. Now we can adjust our fib levels just a bit. We see that the 9 a.m. candle has come in. Now, if you were looking to get into this trade, remember we're saying we need to see some sort of break of structure. We would need to see price, and I like to look at the 5 minute or the 3 minute time frames. Okay, we see our 3 minute time frame is also at the R8. So is the 5 minute. Our 15 minute is at the R8 as well. So that's telling us when we have price at a particular price point, and that price point is, for instance, the R8 across multiple time frames, that tells us that this is a large area of support, of resistance here. It's resistance on multiple time frames. So we are looking for price to break below, you know, this 15-minute candle open at 2693.8. We see that it's made a high up here to 2696. We are then waiting for price to make a lower low and break below this level and at least come down here to fill this engulfing candle. And then if we, you know, can see momentum still giving us that nice selling momentum, then down here to our 51.61.8 level. I know that was a lot of information, but do you guys see? And just be honest, because I can go over it again, right? How we use our pivot levels to help us, one, find our entry area. You know, we zoomed into different time frames, find our entry area, and then find our destination, our final destination, our TP area. So we had a TP, what they might call 1, which if you're just kind of a scalper, you don't want to hold your trades for too long. You might just hold your sell after it breaks this structure just to fill this engulfing, you know, this engulfing candle here. That's 6 points. You guys know, I'm seeing some new faces here. And I appreciate everyone for sharing our, our class, weekly class with all of our trading friends, open to everyone, free every Wednesday. So you guys spread the love. But you guys see here with gold, you don't need too many pips. You don't need a lot of pips to make some good money with gold. So, 500 points, 578 pips, excuse me, 5 points. That is a good trade. All righty. So we have TP1 here. If you don't want to hold it, you could take profit at that level. And then if you want to hold your trade all the way down to this 61.8 level, you can, We're going to see how price reacts, how the market reacts when it gets to these different price levels, and see if, okay, do we still have some more selling momentum, just like how we kind of did with US30. We looked at our RSI, we looked at our other time frames and saw that, price still had some buying to do. It wasn't finished buying. So we do that. We're going to do the same thing when price hits these points here in gold. We have a TP level here. We have a TP level here. You might even take it down to the S1 or the S0. The S0 would, take our fib level and just make, that's if, we have a lot of buying momentum. We have a lot of selling pressure. If not, the S0 is nice because it goes a little bit below this 786. Let's see if Florence is here with us. She was.
I have a question.
Hey, Charlotte. Good morning.
So we're looking for sales now because the pivots didn't shift and it reached the R8
Right.
because the trend was buying, correct?
Yep. It looked like on the 15-minute. So right now, gold has kind of just been, we didn't have a chance to go and do our top-down analysis. But yes, gold has been, making significant higher. It's back into its uptrend. It's really just since December the 30th. And it's, it reached this price point, this 2,600, went up here to this 2,700, pushed back down. It's gone up to this price point again. So yes, it's in an uptrend, but we've seen that recently, what was this? The 10th. As soon as it's come up here to this 2,700 level, it's kind of shot straight back down. And it's doing it again. This is resistance level. So yes, it is in an uptrend. And we are looking for a pullback because first of all, if you're just looking at market structure, price has rejected this price level a couple different times. Buyers are unable to push price above this 2,700 area, this price in the past. And what is it doing? We see that rejection again now. Let's see, even if we kind of bring it again back here to what, the 12th, it did the same thing. It pushed up to a higher price point. Buyers were able to get it up to 27.24, but then we had a huge rejection point, and buyers did try to, we had a push down. Sellers came in. We had a little bit of support here. Oh, here we go. A little bit of support here. Oh. Okay, price, touching this level, shooting back up into that buy. It was, but then finally it broke this support. It was buyers were unable to come in and push price higher than this level here, 26.90. And since then, we've just been making lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. And then buyers were able to take over. We've made higher highs and we've been in a nice buy trend ever since then. If we take our 10-20 EMA crosses, those are our short-term trend EMAs. We kind of see, even though we had some crosses here and there, price has literally just been making higher highs, except when it's come up to this price point. This is resistance. So yes, Charlotte, it was resistance in the past. And then once we looked at our 5-minute, our 15-minute, our 1-minute, this area again was the R8, showing that there was strong resistance, pivot level wise on multiple time frames. So if multiple time frames are telling you, hey, this is a little wall, on the 1-minute, it's a wall on the 3-minute, it's a wall on the 5-minute, that's a pretty strong wall. So because we are in an overall buy trend, we have this wall here where, resistance there. We're looking for a pullback to the 61.8 level or the P4 level, because we are in a buy trend. We're just looking for a pullback. We're not looking for a sell as if the overall trend is selling. We're just looking for a pullback. However, what I was saying was that you can take a look to see how price reacts once it gets to this 61.8 or this 50 zone. Because we might see through our RSI, through your candlesticks and things of that sort, that we might have a lot of selling pressure where price might get pushed down to the 786 level or this S1. Typically, we want to see, price just doing, we're always talking about, I never want to talk in, okay, price is going to sell down in here, we're going to buy, because that doesn't happen all the time. So I'm trying to talk you guys kind of through, price might reach here, but then what might it do? It might push down a little bit further, before continuing to buy. Not all the time does price just come down here to the 50, 61.8 level, and then that's when it decides to continue to buy. So I want you guys to, you map out your trades. Before you get into a trade, you want to see, where's your destination? And then talk yourself through what might happen so that when, price reaches these certain levels, you kind of have an idea of what to look out for. If price, if we see when price comes here to our 50, 61.8 level, this 26.75, if we see, for instance, we are oversold on the 15-minute buying up, we look at our 5-minute time frames or 1-minute time frames, and this is like the S0, showing that this is a major level of support. That gives us the clue that selling pressure, selling momentum's done. It's reached this 50 level. We're going to start looking for buys. However, if price gets down to this level and we see that, the S0 on the 5-minute, the 3-minute, is down here at this 26.67, then that gives us the idea that, hey, we can move our TP down a little bit, or we can exit out of this trade, catch our, take our profits, enter into a new trade, a smaller trade to this level. Does everyone, if you understand the different ways that you can play out, use this trade idea, several different ways, throw some 7s in the chat. If you see where, okay, this was TP1, engulfing that candle, taking out this engulf, you hit TP. Or, you come in, or you're holding on to your trade, you're confident, you see the selling pressure, this next candle is coming out. It's what, 15-minute candle coming out in what, 1 minute? And we see that price is starting to make, more selling pressure. Do you guys see how that might be an inclination that is coming down to the 61.8 level from our fib? Okay, we got some more sevens, and now you guys understand that you check to see what the market is doing at this level once price reaches this level to see if we have more selling pressure and price is going to go down to the next point. Charlotte, did I answer your question? Is that what you were asking me?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. That was great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, great. So do you guys, all right, so we're good with gold. We still have 15 minutes to head over to US30. Let's get all of our gold questions set up. We have this, I have this position tool set up. This is 31 points. You guys have different ways you can play it. Of course, once it's in green, once, there's no guarantee that, price is going to come down to 26.61. Of course, these are just predictions, just going off of previous market structure and historical data, all that good stuff. But do you guys see how even if you have a change, once you start seeing the market come down here and start to make lower lows and lower highs, even if you were just taking your TP right here at 26.75, once the market makes lower lows, this is your first position. It comes to make a lower low. Once you see the market making this lower high and it's confirmed by, your candlestick structure, you can add another position. Once the market makes another low, comes up and makes a lower high, you can add another position here. So you don't need to take 5, 6, 7 trades. You can have one setup. And let's just say if we just play this setup, I'm just gonna, when I drop this in the group, just gonna have this up to 26.75. This P4 into this 50.61.8 box. And that's just 17 points. You can maximize when you have a confident trade position or a trade idea, all momentum's going in your favor. You see your candlestick patterns are on higher time frames, confirming that as well. We're not near the New York Open. I don't suggest you guys taking multiple positions during, before the New York Open. If anything, please be in your demos unless, don't take these ideas that I'm giving out or just market structure in live accounts, please. If you do, it's on you. Have a tight risk there just because of everything that happens during that time frame. But I'm just showing you guys. You can have one position and add to that position to make your day. How many people add to their positions? If you add to your positions, put a 1 in the chat. If you are just a person that just has one position, lets it ride to TP, you don't add, put a 2 in the chat. Let's see how many people, or if that's something we need to start working on, is how to add to your positions. Now I forgot what was 1 and what was 2. Frankie.
1 was add, 2 was just hit TP.
Oh, thank the Lord. Thank you. Okay. Ty says she adds to losing positions, and we've all been there. Frankie, you add to your position. How long did it take you to kind of get into that flow of learning when to add and not add? We never add to losing positions. So Ty, just kind of put it in your head that if you're not already in profit, you're not adding to that position. We're not gonna, there was such a toxic, how do you guys want to call it? Suggestion, or in Forex world, quite a couple years back, something called profit off of pullback. And so we were being taught you know, say now if you were in a trade and you entered at 26.91 and, you know, price pulled back over here to 26.95, we were taught to add a position up here too, add to a losing position or profit off of pullback to add to this position so that, you know, when the market does go in our favor, we have a trade that's already in profit. We have another trade that's down here. But Ty, as you know, as you've said, and we've all been there, everyone's added to a losing position. If they haven't, they're probably still in demo, still learning, whatever. So thank you for your transparency. But that causes us to lose over leverage, lose, you know, completely out of our risk management targets and all that stuff. So no, we don't add to our positions, although it can be tempting until we are in profit. Okay, let's head on over here to US30. We have our gold set up. We have our intraday position. We have a couple different things we could do with this baby. And we are done with that. Woo. Now let's get over here to US30. Let's talk about US30 for a little bit. Okay, so US30, we had this huge engulfing candle from our news. Price has just been making higher highs. You know, since what? The 13th, we just been making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and so on and so forth. We had this previous level of resistance here. Let me turn off these alerts. We are here. No alert needed. Delete. Oh, whatever. All right, so we had this level of resistance in the past. This was support. Let's see if we can. This was support in the past. And then what happened? We had a break of structure. Price broke below that level of support, turning this area into resistance, 43,390 kind of zone. We built, so now we have an area of resistance. We have an area of support. Resistance in this area again. And we kind of had a little, you know, push a little bit above that, but price came straight down and, you know, continued to sell. So very strong area of resistance. We see that price tried once. We see price tried twice, you know, so on and so forth. So now that was what, on the 26th, that was all the way in December. So we saw that price. This is now, this area is now our R8. We had that pivot level shift. Our R8 was down here, kind of where we had these peaks at this 43, like 150 area. Price shot straight through that. We had a pivot level shift. Now here is our R8 and our S0. So, you know, we had our destination. You kind of see where, you know, price was going all the way up to this R8. And again, not all the time does price come up to the R8. You have to know your pairs. Sometimes I know for SPX, sometimes price just comes to the R7 and that's its level. So right now, we want to see price kind of break out of this box to give us an indication if price is going to, you know, shoot up here to this R8. Oh, wrong thingy. Shoot up here to this R8. Price is what? It's, where's my thingy? 23, oh, 222, 222. We're going to see if it wants to come up here to 43, 357, or if we're going to get a break below this box? Are we going to get a breakout out of this box for price to come back here to fill this engulfing news, high impact news candle? Without, what do you guys think US 30 is going to do? Is it going to break above or below? Put A for above, B for below in the chat. Are we breaking to the upside or are we going to break to the downside? I gave you guys a clue on how to, have a more, what do you call it? Kind of a better hypothesis. Okay, Charlotte says a break to the downside. Is that because price is not making higher highs? And we saw that this candle, this 15-minute candle, we had a green candle, then we had this red candle. And now our next candle is a red candle. Alrighty, so we can do this. Let's go ahead and just put our hypothesis on here before we even move. Remember I said, if you want a more educated guess, what are we doing? We're moving to the lower time frames. So let's see. We want price to break a little bit below here. So 43,185. And we're going to take our TP down here to this engulfing candle, to the start of this engulfing candle, the break of structure, kind of, this was right before news came out. So what happens? We typically know that whenever we have price breaking, and having these huge engulfing candles for any of these news events, price usually comes back and fills this kind of huge gap for this candle before continuing into that trend. All right, let's look at the 5-minute to give us an indication of what's going on. All right, so 5-minute, we see that, price reached this R7. See if you guys can see that. It's another resistance level. And, it's just playing around in this box. So we have the New York Open coming out in about 4 minutes. We have a couple things that can happen. Price might shoot up here to this R8 and then start to sell. Or, price can shoot down here and we have that engulfing candle. Because we had this 5-minute engulfing candle here that took out these previous 3 candles, that kind of shows me that, kind of tells me that, that was just like a major area of rejection. Buyers are having a hard time kind of coming, pushing price above this price point here. We want to wait for a nice break below this spot, below this, previous candle here to get into that sell. We see our RSI, this is on the 5-minute, is overbought. So we might get that sell. I'm expecting a sell as well, but we want to talk it through. And if you are, if we do get into this sell, we have a tight stop loss. It's still 100, almost 100 points there because, oh my gosh, the markets have just been crazy. Have you guys noticed that how many points our pivot levels have in between them, even on the smaller time frames these days? Now where you thought, NAS might be, usually this might be just 150 point move. Now this is like 400 points. So we've had a lot of Januaries for us. For 15 days in the market. If you're on the right side of the market, it's been a blessing. That's why we really have to keep our tight stop losses. And it's okay. If we do get activated into a sell and price comes up above here, we have no problem with price hitting our stop loss because we don't want to be in a sell if price is making higher highs. That's why we got to learn to love our stop losses and really just sometimes when we hit our stop loss, that's a blessing. Good. Because we, you got to put it in strategic. Some of us, we're no longer, I'm not even saying some of us. None of us are no longer placing stop losses based on, a monetary amount. Oh, $50 here. I'm only risking $50. No, you map out your trade. You see, okay, if I got in here, that's going to cost me, that's a risk of 97 points. Okay, let me adjust my lot size. Where if you were, taking US30 with a 0.03 lot size, meaning $3 for every point that US30 moves, because you would have all of this risk, 97 points, you would then probably tell yourself, all right, well, now I have to go, I can only be on a 0.01, $1 for every, trade there. All right, ding, 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 ding. New York open. Let's see how this plays out. Is our stop loss going to get hit? We were activated. Any questions for US30 or gold? Let's look at this on the 5-minute time frame as well. Guess we can look at the 1 minute. 1 minute, 1 minute kind of gives me a little heart attack sometimes, but let's look at, I guess we can look at the 1 minute to kind of help us look at price action. Alrighty, so we have our trades mapped out. We're looking to fill this imbalance on US30. In gold, we are looking to come back down here to this 50.61.8 level for our retracement. Let's give it a couple minutes. Oh my goodness. I see some of our folks that are from overseas were able to hop on the Zoom with us today. Oh, hey, Miss Kelly. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. We see US30 is in profit here. We were right. It's pushing down, making lower lows, 55 points in profit already. Okay, so let's just speak really quickly. I'm not going to keep you guys too long. We'll go up to 9:40. And remember that, now I'm posting all of our recordings on our YouTube channel. That way, you can always go back and review whenever, at your convenience. Let them get deleted. All right, so just remember while you guys are looking at this month, we have a full schedule. We are talking about developing a strong trading routine. So I'm going to be pushing that all throughout the month. That's just our topic of the month. Our book of the month is the Morning Miracle. I've dropped that PDF as well in the chat. And then I have a chart patterns cheat sheet as well. So check your January schedule, that pinned post. I have our class times there. And then this Sunday at 9 p.m., we are going to be doing our monthly chart markup. And we're going to go over and mark up, 2 or 3 pairs for the month, just so that we have our pairs marked up on a higher time frame. And now, every Monday I try to drop a psychological kind of either an insert. I try to be, dropping like videos at this point in time, just so that we're always reading, so that we can just have, just a change of format there. So I did drop a video on Monday. It was a nice interview with a trader. I hope you guys were able to look at that. This kind of shows us that, how we all kind of look at the markets and what we've been through. The name of the YouTube channel is Trade Love Academy. Let me go ahead and drop the link. Give me 1 second. All right, this was our weekly trading video from last week, and we had all of that good stuff there. I got 2 subscribers. Y'all subscribe to the channel. Come over here, subscribe to the channel. It just helps so that you guys, let me drop this in the chat here. Don't miss out on your recordings. All righty, it is 9:34. Oh, what was I going to talk about here? All right, moving stop. Let's just do it with gold because US30 is still getting itself together. So we were in a trade like this and we entered here. We had our stop loss. Price didn't hit our stop loss. Remember what we were talking about? Price making, we had a high and then price made a lower low and a lower high, making lower lows here and still dropping. But if we were in this trade, we could move our stop into profit, right here around 26.90. This was our previous high. I mean, from where we are at right now, our latest, lower high. So if price breaks above this level, we definitely don't want to be in this trade. That's the easiest way to, oh, you're welcome. That's the easiest way to place your stop loss. Kind of think to yourself, where would my trade idea be invalidated? You get what I'm saying? So kind of say, all right, if I'm in a sell, what would make this sell no longer valid? And that's where you can put your stop loss. That's where you can move your stop into profit. So okay, so let's just say something like, all right, so you have your stop loss here. This was our previous low. This was our low. So a lot of times what price is going to do, so I always say for us to mark up those lows, mark up those highs. A lot of times price might bounce back up here. Well, it looks like it's just heading straight to our take profit. But now that we see where price has gone, down here, you can start moving your stop loss. Oh. Up to the next kind of area here, we have this huge wick. So you can start moving your stop loss according. Some even might move their stop loss right up here to this candle, just to secure their profits. Sometimes remember what we were talking about where price only goes to the S1, doesn't necessarily go down to the S0. So, you might have taken your profit there. If you look at the higher time frames, that's going to, remember how we said we're going to see how price reacts when it reaches this level. What do I mean by that? Perfect. I'm so glad we're seeing this in live time. All right, look at our RSI on the 15-minute time frame. So prices reached our 50, 61, 8 box. We're going to see if we can stay in this trade and continue with these sells, or if price is going to come out here and bounce and continue to buy. We see our RSI. Definitely want to wait for this next 15-minute candle to open, but that would tell us if we're right now, we're looking like, we're a little bit overbought, not really overbought here. We're crossing down. We're at this medium area, which is an area that, our RSI likes as well. Sometimes it doesn't always go to the overbought or oversold areas. It just comes back to this medium ground, which is where it wants to be anyways. Okay, let's look at our 5 minute. Our 5 minutes kind of already kind of pushing down there a little bit. We don't have any buying momentum, but it looks like we had this huge, wick here. We still have 1 minute and about just in our 5 minute time frame. Okay, let's look at what the 1 minute's doing. 1 minute still making, we had our high, we have a low here, still making lower lows and lower highs. So, but it's buying up. So that's how you would take a look to see. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, the pivot shifted on the 1 minute for US30. What does that indicate? Because we are in the sell.
US30. Oh, let me look and see here. Wasn't paying attention. Okay. All right. So Maureen was saying that pivot level shift on the 1 minute for US30. What does that mean? So that means that price is kind of showing that price is kind of consolidating between these levels here. Okay, hold on. I just want to keep this gold here up here. All right, price is kind of consolidating between these levels. Still, we had a high, made a lower low. We're making a lower high here, lower low. We're having some buying momentum. I would say whenever the pivot levels shift on the 1 minute, especially during this time, take a look at the higher time frames just to ensure that, we're not making that we're not having a change of trend. So Maureen, in this sense, if I was looking at this and our pivot level shift and our pivot levels are now, this R8 is at the top right over here where we had this high. It's still now if the pivot level, now if my R8 was all the way up here, then I would go ahead and adjust my stop loss to about right here, because then that would mean that price is now starting to make a higher high. But the pivot levels didn't, shift to a point where the market would have made a higher high. So in this case, I'm going to keep my stop loss exactly where it's at. Right now, it still looks like the market is making lower lows, still making lower highs. If you see something like that, you could move your stop loss just a little bit lower, just in case, so that you're not risking too much. But before you do that, go to the higher time frames. Go to the 5 minute. Remember, we don't try to make too many decisions on the 1 minute time frame. The 1 minute time frame, we're just looking to see how the market is reacting. Just looking at price action there. So 5 minute, we see, still the R7 is right here, R8. We really haven't had a pivot level shift on the higher time frames. Let's look at the 15 minute. 15 minute is oversold and still pushing down. So even though that's a pivot level, that you have a pivot level shift on the 1 minute, because that pivot level shift didn't have, these parameters outside of our stop loss, again, if we saw that the 1 minute R8 was now, outside of our box, outside of where we originally had our stop loss, okay? So where we originally had our stop loss, just a little bit out here. If that shifted and we had, our pivot levels up here, then that would give me the indication that, okay, price is trying to make a higher high. But doing a full scope on the different time frames, looking at how, the R8 is still right here where, my levels were for resistance anyways, I would just leave it. If it was outside of, outside of these parameters, then that would mean that could potentially mean that now price is making a higher high. Right now, it just looks like it's bouncing around and trying to get out of this kind of level here. This is the low, this is the high. It's trying to get out of this kind of box. Does that make sense, Maureen?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. So again, if you're feeling a little weary about this and you're seeing that we have, a new level of resistance, you can adjust your stop loss so that you are, reducing your risk. But again, if you're playing with US30, you want to give that baby some room to breathe. It needs a lot of room. One thing I hate is moving my stop loss. Stop loss gets ticked. I might move up a little bit right here and then continues on with my trade. So we have to start trusting our stop loss parameters. If we place our stop loss there, it's for a reason. As soon as we place our stop loss, we understand the risk that we're taking and we just woo-side out and let it play out. Just let it play out. When you put that trade on, you already knew as soon as you put that trade on, I'm risking 97 points. I could lose $97. Can I afford that? Look at your risk your account balance. If you're feeling nervous about that, then that tells you, I don't need to be trading US30. Let me look at something else. Or can I adjust my lot size even, to even less so that I'm risking even less? If you're already at a, 0.01, then no. But, you gotta ask yourself those questions before you get into a trade just to help, with your trade management, your risk management, all of those things there. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me. Again, remember, we do have class this Sunday where we're going to be marking up our charts. I hope you guys learned a lot. I will see you guys on Sunday and then again on Wednesday. Trade well, guys.